and welcome to Generally Speaking, the podcast that bridges the worlds of pop culture and personal development. I'm your host, Jennifer Snook. I'm so happy to be here with you guys today. I hope everything has been going well in your world. Before we dive into the pod today, if you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure you reach out and smash that subscribe button. I would appreciate it. Thank you very much. Well, I hope everyone had a wonderful 4th of July. I hope you all still have your hands, your fingers, your eardrums all intact. Because let's face it, between the fireworks, the family, all the food, and the barking dogs, you guys, I'm telling you, 4th of July can be a lot. And I have been wondering for the last 12 hours, when did my life go from fun 4th of July events to staying home and cuddling the dog? Because honestly, that's how we spent our night last night, just making sure that the dog felt safe and wasn't, completely terrified out of its skin, because we live deep in the valley, you guys, and I swear to God, it was like bombs over Baghdad here, shaking the walls of the house so strong. I mean, it was like rocks you at your core. I'm telling you, it is not good for your nervous system. And I swore just last night that next year we are going to be driving with the dog to the desert, someplace where there is not all of this noise. And the sad thing is that it's not even like it's not like we're seeing pretty fireworks. These aren't like gorgeous fireworks that you sit in awe of. These shake you at your soul, you guys. I mean, these rattle the windows, shake the walls. I mean, it is some scary shit. And I know it's going to happen tonight and for the next couple days, and hopefully not much longer than that. You will be happy to know that I'm finally past the tears and the trauma and all that sickness that plagued me for the last month. Thank God. I have my monthly lupus infusion coming up this Tuesday. This time, though, I won't be getting that infusion with that little bastard influenza A lurking in my body, that little bastard that tried to kill me. The flu sounds like nothing, right? But I'm telling you, that flu was so brutal, you guys. You will also be happy to know that my mother, thank you once again for all of the prayers and the good wishes. She sends her best to you guys. I told her about all of your well wishes, and she said thank you so very much. She is finally feeling healthier, you guys, feeling stronger. So I'm very excited about that and hoping and praying that she is going to make it to the Garlic Festival with us in a few weeks. And if I know my mom like I think I know my mom, she will be there. So I'm stepping into this episode feeling a little healthier, feeling more grounded, and honestly overflowing with gratitude, you guys. And gratitude, can I just tell you how amazing gratitude is? I mean, I'm here to tell you, if you want just one tip about turning your life around, I will give it to you. Get into gratitude, because I am telling you, it is the game changer. 100% game changer. We have got a lot to talk about today, you guys, but I'm going to tell you one thing we are not talking about. We are not, and I repeat, we are not talking about that Bezos wedding that happened in Italy. Because honestly, I just can't. I don't feel passionately about it one way or the other. I really don't. I'm just honestly bored by it. Good luck to them, but that is not on our agenda today. On the other hand, you know who I am not bored by? The characters of the Real Housewives of New Jersey. Still, I mean, they have given us so much over the years, and it just doesn't stop, quite frankly. You've got Juicy Joe out there still going with the Trump card, trying to get himself back into the country. But isn't this president trying to deport people? Good luck to you, Joe. Joe is what I like to call trilusional. It's a take on one of my favorite words, delusional, but tailored to Teresa. Trilusional. And speaking of Teresa, did you guys hear her on her podcast again this week with Christian Grey, who she's brought in to be a buffer and make her sound a little smarter? Teresa had him on her podcast Turning the Tables, and she was telling him that she's getting ready to go to Australia for that string of drag shows that may or may not be on a boat. Anyway, Teresa says, yeah, I'm going to be doing a news segment while I'm there too, because she's still going on about how she got harassed by that Chicago news anchor last week, remember? So she says that she's going to be interviewed again in Australia on TV. And Christian Grey says, well, don't you worry. You'll be able to control the narrative. They won't ask you those rude questions. You'll be able to control the narrative this time. But can we talk about the whole narrative of controlling the narrative? If he's telling Teresa that she can control the narrative, that just basically means no one's going to ask you the hard questions. No one's going to ask you the questions that you're uncomfortable with, right? You're going to be able to control the narrative. But the real question is, why do we need to control a narrative? Why? If you're comfortable with the truth, then why do you need to control a narrative? You just let the truth be the narrative. Go to Australia, Teresa, where you can wrestle a croc and control the narrative. Make it make sense. Speaking of Trilusional, let's talk about Jax and the fact that there is a petition to cancel him. him. But can someone explain to me why we're even talking about canceling Jax? Because you can't cancel someone's humanity. I mean, you can try, but where's the line? And newsflash, if you get rid of all the narcissists on every show, then you're going to have nothing but sterile, boring shows. And quite frankly, this is Bravo, not the Hallmark Network. And speaking of Jax, that leads us to the Valley and the fact that Caperna has gotten so much wild, online, out of control hate that she has apparently up and moved to Switzerland to escape it. But I'm not really sure how exactly you escape it when it's all online, right? Was Janet really in physical danger? I mean, she must have assumed that she was, or thought that she was, or had some credible evidence that she was, because I feel like uprooting your life and going to Switzerland isn't just like bombing to the beach for a day. Anyway, whatever is happening, that hate is out of control and it needs to stop. That is sick. It is wrong. And if it is anybody listening to this podcast, make it stop. But honestly, that level of hate, you guys, is out of control. And on another note, a miracle happened. Vicki Gunvalson said 3 things this week that I completely agreed with. One was that California insurance prices are completely exorbitant and out of control. 100% true. She also said that she stopped following Alexis Bellino because she thinks she's a weirdo. And I have to say, I think she's a little strange myself. And she said that she was there on the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Morocco and that all of the women had a great time together, including Caroline. The whole conversation came up with, once again, Christian Grey, who Vicki is now, I guess, sharing with Teresa as a co-host buffer. Or I should just say as a co-host. For Teresa, he plays a buffer. For Vicki, he's a little bit more of a co-host. Anyway, Christian was talking about the fact that in court, we found out that Bravo actually has 7 fully edited episodes of The Real Housewives Morocco finished and ready to air. And Vicki says, I was there. I saw it. She says nothing happened. And whatever Caroline claimed happened, you'll be able to see because it was all on camera. She says Caroline loved every minute of it. And now the truth is we really might be seeing it. If Caroline's case gets dismissed, then there's no reason why Bravo wouldn't air it. And quite frankly, why wouldn't Bravo air it? Imagine the ratings. Everyone's been wondering what really went down on that trip. And now we have 7 episodes fully edited with confessionals to show us. Bring it on, Bravo. Bring it on. Huge congratulations to Madison LaCroix, who had her baby, Teddy. How sweet is that? Congratulations to her and Brett, and how cute Hudson is a big brother now. So congratulations. So cute. I love their little family. And now here is what I've been dying to talk to you guys about. So probably about 18 months ago, I don't know how long it's been, maybe 18 months, Mike and I were watching some reality show on some network. I don't remember what it was, but we got fully hooked. There was only 1 season. We got fully hooked. Well, guess what? It is back and it is on Bravo, you guys. I'm sure you have already seen it in the lineup. The McBee Dynasty. I'm telling you, the McBee Dynasty is where you need to be. That show is hitting on all cylinders. I'm telling you, there is something so refreshing, so genuine, so authentic about this show. It's like, it feels the way reality TV should feel, real. I'm telling you, do not sit on this, you guys. The show is about this guy, this family actually, who owns this huge, big ranching corporation, cattle and farms, and just, they own a bunch of property, I think in Missouri. They're from Texas. Anyway, they are from the Midwest and they own a ton of property, cattle, and their dad is Steve McBee. Steve McBee has these 3 sons. The 3 sons each have their respective girlfriends. It is a wild dynamic, but there is something about it that feels so raw and real. And if I'm going to be honest, feels a lot like a lot of the people that I grew up with. And to be completely honest, that Steve McBee, here he is running this huge corporation, but there's something about this guy that you can tell that he is still about 14 years old inside, and something about him really reminds me of my dad. This guy, Steve, has recently made a string of bad business decisions, and now he's lost $100 million. The farm is on the line. And last year we learned that the dad, Steve McBee, who is still this super handsome, rugged, dynamic guy, but like I said, about 14 years old inside, Steve, much like my dad, gets validated by the women he surrounds himself with. So he surrounds himself with a lot of women. He left his wife and the mother of his kids for his business director, Galena. And just recently, he left Galena for her best friend. And then we just learned that the entire operation has been under surveillance by the FBI and that Steve McBee might actually be spending some time behind bars. So it's so good, you guys. Don't sit on it. Go watch it. Go catch up. Go watch the first season and then dive into Bravo and get caught up. I promise you, you will love it. Okay, everybody, it is time to talk Atlanta. But before we dive into the season finale, we have to talk about the reunion looks because, my God, they were a lot. But honestly, this is Atlanta, so I don't know why I would expect anything less. Okay, taking a look at these dresses. Kelly. I mean, for God's sake, just way too much, way too much, way too much. This is Kelly, you guys. If you guys are listening, I'm sorry you can't see this picture, but you're not missing much, I promise you. And then we have Shamia. Sorry, once again, what is that? What is that? Horrible. And then there's the saving grace, Angela Oakley. What a gorgeous woman and what a gorgeous dress. I loved it. I gotta say, Phaedra, ridiculous. Too much, too much, too much. I don't know. What is happening here? What is she trying to be, Aphrodite? I don't get it. And then Drew with the flowers. I'm sorry, with the feathers. I mean, for the love of God. Sorry, Drew, feathers are not going to make you more interesting. And then we've got Portia, which it just feels heavy. It just feels like a lot, but I guess her season was. And Cynthia, I mean, there's Cynthia. We've seen that dress a million times. I feel like we've seen that dress a million times on Cynthia. So, you know, boring. But these looks were, I mean, for the most part, you guys, on the whole, I would say that those reunion looks were like a 2 out of 10. Angela was the only one that deserves any honorable mention at all. But anyway, diving into the show, you guys. This was the season finale. And honestly, as much as I thought Angela was hands down the best dressed of the reunion, I was shocked to find out that her and Portia are actually the same age. I mean, isn't that wild? I don't know. Maybe it's just the way Angela presents herself. She really just does present in a more mature way. Anyway, the season finale, you guys, has come and gone, and it was fire, I thought. I mean, this episode was really something. You can still feel the heat coming off of Angela Oakley. I mean, this was really explosive. This felt like old school Atlanta to me. Just remixed with some new energy and higher stakes. This wasn't just a finale. This felt like a declaration. The Real Housewives of Atlanta is finding its groove again. I mean, I know this season was a little rocky in places, but I really feel like Atlanta is getting back on track. I mean, from Angela Oakley's financial unraveling to Portia's emotional reckoning, from Britt Edie's legal drama to those whispers that Nene's coming back, Atlanta is stepping it up, so buckle up, because we are diving deep. We've got Portia's grief. I mean, let's start with Portia because she grounded this entire episode in something very real. We saw her grieving the loss of her cousin Londi, who tragically passed from complications from heart failure just out of the blue. The scene with Portia and Lauren breaking down together, I mean, that was raw and vulnerable and just stripped of all the bullshit. Honestly, that felt like one of the realest moments that we've had from Portia in I can't even remember when. And the grace with which she navigated Londi's homegoing, the way she leaned into her family and allowed cameras to see her really grieving, that's some big Bravo growth. And the fact that she actually went to Phaedra for that homegoing, because everybody in Atlanta knows that Phaedra is the chairman of the Heavenly Usher Board. I mean, honestly, we've seen Portia play funny, flirty, even messy, but this was something much, much deeper and very real. This was Portia anchoring the cast emotionally, and it was nice. It felt natural, and it hit beautifully. And then we have Angela Oakley, who I am pretty sure we can confidently say has cemented her spot for season 16. I mean, Angela gave it to us. She spent the finale holding back tears and revealing to the group and to us that she's lost millions of her husband's dollars in those real estate dealings. And that because of that, Charles has now cut her off financially, and the two of them are in couples counseling trying to survive and rebuild. Angela says sometimes you have to cut off your finger to save your hand. And well, I mean, she's not wrong. And if that wasn't enough, she confronted the whole Marcus situation, that guy who was saying that her husband was having an affair. Angela's convinced convinced that someone planted this guy Marcus there to screw up her life, and she thinks it was one Miss Phaedra Parks. And Angela is pissed, and she does not play. And you can tell because that confrontation at the gala was chilling, and she meant business. I mean, you could see the betrayal in her body language. But Angela didn't back down. She stood tall, she held her ground, and in doing so, she proved that she's not just good TV, but she's actually very relatable. I mean, we're watching her risk it all to stay true to herself and her husband. And her life may be messy, but on that reunion stage, Miss Oakley was giving full fashion. And I'm not sure where Bravo's gonna have her seated for that reunion, but Angela should be center stage. She's already best dressed. Now, let's talk about the gala, because it was giving everything we love about Atlanta. You had drama and sequins. There were secrets bubbling under polite smiles, and everyone, and I mean everyone, looking over their shoulder, wondering who was going to pop off next. Shamia performed, which was incredible, and she was great, but the real performance came when Angela and Marcus and Charles faced off. I mean, this was some serious shit. The whole room went silent. You could feel the tension in the air. And at the end, Miss Phaedra Parks was accused of being the mastermind. But Phaedra denied everything, and kept herself in a very calm, cool, collected Phaedra fashion. And Charles Oakley ended the night storming away. If there was any mystery left in their marriage, it cracked wide open that night. And then there's Britt Eadie's exit to talk about. Britt didn't even show up to the reunion, and Bravo tried to say that it was because of personal reasons, but come to find out it is much deeper than that and has to do with that lawsuit. You know, earlier this season, Britt filed a defamation lawsuit against that blogger who leaked those nude photos of her, the same photos that one of the cast members showed in a scene. So now there's whispers that the legal action might extend to the actual show itself. And all that this really means for us is that Britt is not going to be back next season, bottom line. Which doesn't really bother me because I've never been a Britt fan, but I want to know what you guys think. Are you guys sad that Britt won't be back next season? Leave a message in the comments. I want to know what you guys think about that. As for Kenya, we know that she has been noticeably absent for most of the season, but we also know that Miss Kenya Moore is waiting on the sidelines. And yeah, Kenya was pissed, but she has not ruled out a return. I mean, come on, she just posted on Instagram, the queen never leaves the castle. She just renovates. And if Kenya's objective was to get Britt gone, then she succeeded and she renovated the show, and maybe now the queen will return. So the question is, do you think this season delivered? I mean, I know it was rocky and it felt like there were some growing pains, but honestly, I really think that it did. Aside from the Brit, she never really fit for me. But I'm here for the other girls. I really am. And I think it was nice to have the show grounded once again in the Portia and the Phaedra of it all. I mean, the frickin' frack is where it's at. Does that mean it's perfect? No, because Drew's still around. But as for who's coming back, I say Angela is 100%, Portia completely locked in, Shamia, Kelly, Drew, I can see them all getting invited back. As for Britt, she's gone, long gone. And then we have Kenya, who's putting on her gear and warming back up. And yes, all you OG lovers, those whispers of Nini's return are growing louder. I mean, can you imagine? Can you just imagine if we had Nini, Kenya, Phaedra, Portia? I mean, amazing. And here's the thing. I don't think that bringing back an OG is amazing because you're trying to recapture the glory. I think that there's something even more interesting with bringing back OGs because they've had so much time off. And I want to see them and like compare and contrast, like how had they grown? Like, are they the same person that they were on the first go round, or have they learned a lot by stepping away from the spotlight and coming back in? So I think that that is what makes it more layered and more interesting. And I only want to see someone come back after they've been away long enough to really kind of get their feet on grounded land. You know what I mean? So they're not in that reality world. They need to be out of that reality world long enough to remember what real life feels like and then go back in. Okay, moving on over to Miami, or we will sing it like Julia, the opera singer. The show opens in the emotional dust storm left by last week's meltdown. You know, the one that ended with Julia throwing water on Gertie and Kiki like she was trying to baptize the bullshit out of them? Julia feels really bad about ruining Marisol's wedding and says that she had no right to make someone wet. But she is still upset that she let Gertie get the best of her. She's definitely pissed about that, and she's pissed at Gertie. really pissed, especially for saying that Julia was in France while Martina was actually getting her cancer treatment. Meanwhile, Gertie is still raw from the cancer, the chemo, and the chaos. She feels fully betrayed by Julia, but she's trying to move forward with some type of dignity. And when I say trying, I mean trying, because you can still feel her pain. It is palpable. And she is broken up about it, and it has really created a coldness between the two. The kind that you just can't fix with a mimosa and a group toast. And then it's time for the new girl's arrival, and ladies and gentlemen, enter Stephanie Shojaee. And she doesn't just walk onto the scene, she lands on it via private jet with Larsa at her side, like she's some type of Chanel-clad hype woman. Stephanie's married to one of Miami's richest real estate moguls. She's actually the president of his company. I mean, this lady's got the money. She's got the diamonds, she's got the jets, and enough status to make even Lisa Hochstein nervous. And she knows it. But here's the twist. She's not performative. She's authentic and direct. She says things like, I don't want to have kids. I want to be filthy rich. And she's not being sarcastic, and she's not ashamed. She's just being real. And Stephanie came from very humble beginnings, so she knows both sides of the coin. And the women are intimidated by her. I mean, you can physically see them shrink when she starts to talk. Lisa tries to laugh it off and say, I just want to be friends with her because she's rich. But Stephanie clocks it. And she clocks Lisa. But Stephanie's not here to be liked. She's here to run circles around all these other women. She's here to disrupt the power dynamic. And honestly, she did that the moment that she stepped on the screen. Her power isn't just her money, it's her security. And nothing rattles insecure women more than someone who has nothing to prove. And then we have Lisa, who is still in mourning because, her father just passed. And honestly, you can feel the grief all over Lisa. But what's really upsetting her more and pushing her towards the edge is Marisol and Alexia telling her about all the horrible things Larsa said about her boyfriend. She's hearing all this stuff about Jody, not just that he's controlling, but now that he's also a gold digger. Alexia says that he's using her for clout, and then Lisa snaps and storms out. And honestly, I don't blame her. I mean, for God's sake, the poor girl is grieving. But you want to know what the even deeper truth is? Finally, Lisa's storyline is no longer about Lenny. It's just about her trying to reclaim her own identity and figure out who she is. And when women like Marisol and Alexia and Larsa chip away at that, even under the guise of concern, she reads it as betrayal because they're challenging her, and she doesn't want to be challenged. She just wants to be supported. Then Kiki catches up with her dad, who she finally forgave. And while they're driving with Kiki's daughter, Kiki's dad tells her that she has a little brother that she didn't even know about, had never even heard a word about. Then Adriana throws Julia and Martina a baby shower for their incoming boys. Martina said that she wanted the shower to be fun, so Adriana made sure that it was fun in a shitty kind of way. But I'm sorry, honestly, how fun is eating fake poop out of a diaper, stuffed with beans and rice and lentils? Oh, let this be your reminder that fun and gross are two very different things. And then there was that huge bridesmaids moment, which was hilarious. Adriana got up and gave her speech about how good of a friend she is to Julia and how good of friends they are and how she's watched this process. And then you have Alexia. Can I have the microphone? No. I mean, it was hilarious. Such a good scene. I mean, honestly, that scene felt so bridesmaids. I thought I was going to hear someone say, there's a colonial woman on the wing. But honestly, the most interesting part of the night to me was when the new girl, Stephanie, walked right up to Alexia and said, when God takes out the trash, don't go digging through it again, which was squarely aimed at Alexia's relationship with Todd. I mean, it was unreal. And then amidst all this chaos, we did have a very sweet moment between Marisol and her dearly departed mother. I mean, did you see that with the bracelet? It was quiet and honest and grateful, and a reminder that even the messiest women on Bravo are still people, full of loss, love, and layers. And it grounds the episode in something real and more soulful. But just when you think the chaos is winding down, it spikes again. There's twerking, threesome talk. A very buzzed Lisa tells the new girl that she wants to be friends with her because she's rich. Then Lisa excuses herself to go to the bathroom to compose herself, and while she's away, everybody starts talking about the Jody drama again. Not quietly, not kindly, and definitely not carefully. Then when Lisa returns back from the bathroom, the energy immediately shifted, and Lisa could feel it. The silence was loud. And then Julia, like a lunatic at her own baby shower, stands up and says, "Who will admit that they were the one that told Lisa? Who's the one that said it?" Everybody's like, "Why are we doing this?" They go around the table. Everybody's like, "It wasn't me. It definitely wasn't me. It wasn't me. I wasn't even there." And then all of a sudden, Kiki goes, "Well, I had lunch with Gertie and she said that it was her," which is not what Lisa expected or wanted to hear. Lisa breaks down and says, "It hasn't even been a week since I put my dad in the ground." Lisa's pissed and she's hurt and she's grieving her father, trying to hold on to some shred of normalcy. And the women that she once considered her closest friends are dissecting her life like it's a storyline instead of her actual life. Lisa feels exposed and alone and ambushed. And not by enemies, but by the women that she expected to have her back. And just like that, the baby shower ends. Not in celebration, but in more of a silent fallout. So where do we stand after this episode? Well, there's a new queen. And her name is Stephanie. And everyone else is either threatened or pretending not to be. As for Julia, at this point, she is unapologetic and emotionally a little dangerous. As for Gertie, she is still recovering. She is wrestling a little bit with her identity, but she is quietly regaining her strength. As for Lisa, she is emotionally raw and increasingly becoming more emotionally isolated. Marisol is reflective, but still throwing darts. Larsa is busy starting shit everywhere she goes. And as for Alexia, she is shook and trying not to show it. Because Stephanie came in and changed the game without even raising her voice. And the rest of the cast could see it. They felt it. You could see it in their body language and hear it in their fake laughs. Someone else just walked in and took first place, and now the rest of them are just competing for second. Aye, Poppy, it's getting good. And now we're going to the valley. The valley. The valley. This was not your typical Bravo proposal, you guys. There were no private violinists. Instead, we had fish guts, and I'm here for the fish guts, honestly. The show opens up. We're still in Maui. We're in Luke and Kristen's hotel room. Luke is starting to spin out a little bit. He's got his grandmother, his sick grandmother that he's dealing with. He's got this looming engagement that's about to happen. And honestly, the poor guy's about 20 minutes from a full emotional collapse. Kristen's trying to calm him down, but the poor guy is barely hanging on. He's pacing, he's sweaty, he's silent, and that silence is a man trying with everything he has to keep it together. Luke pulls himself together, and him and Kristen go downstairs to meet everybody else for dinner. Michelle's boyfriend, Aaron, is officially at dinner and in the group, and it is awkward. Meanwhile, Brittany quietly drops a gut punch, and she says to camera, "This is the first time in 10 years that I haven't been on vacation with Jax." And as much as you can tell she's glad that he's not there, you can also tell that she's rattled by his absence. Then everyone walks away from the table except Aaron and Jesse, and Jesse hikes up his shorts and spreads his legs and looks at Aaron and says, "How are you enjoying yourself?" And I mean, welcome to Testosterone City, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, Jesse is not making small talk. He is claiming dominion. He is the ex-husband. He is the father. He is the one who carries the weight. And he wants Aaron to know that. And he tells him as much. And then he comes at him with, "And I also want to know if you in any way, shape, or form crossed a line with my ex-wife." And at that point, Aaron's eyes start bulging out of his face so hard that I got nervous. I thought the poor guy was going to lose his eyeballs. And I honestly thought that those eyes were going to say yes. But they said no. This little tete-a-tete that the two of them had was really just about Jesse reclaiming his emotional real estate. And then Aaron, blinking like a deer in Bravo headlights. And then it's engagement day. Zach and his boyfriend start moving out of the presidential suite so they can set it up for Kristen and Luke. Meanwhile, Kristen and Luke are busy prepping for what she thinks is just a fishing trip. And then Luke starts panicking because Kristen says that she doesn't want to shower. Kristen very logically says, "Why would I shower before fishy time?" Which honestly made total sense. Then Nia steps in like the hero she is, sending inspo pics and playing emotional hype woman. Kristen finally gives in. The shower happens and Luke can breathe again. Meanwhile, back at Brittany's house, Jax is spending solo one-on-one time with Cruz and shockingly delivers one of the most profound lines that I've ever heard him say, which was, "This kid is the best medication I have right now." You think? Then the girls all head to a hula class where they learn that hula is actually a form of storytelling. And Brittany jokes that her hula story would involve ripping Jack's balls off, pulling them off his body and throwing them into the ocean. Then it's time for the proposal, the big boat ride. Nia and Danny are going with Kristen and Luke, and they all board the boat. As they're getting on, they see a couple stingrays who are getting it on, making babies, and Kristen takes that as a cosmic wink from the universe. The four of them do a little fishing, they catch a couple fish, and then the focus shifts. Nia's ready to start taking pictures, but at this point, Kristen doesn't feel like it. She feels fishy and sticky and not pretty. But Nia is on a mission, and she needs Kristen to look cute for these engagement pictures that are going to be happening. And with enough cajoling from Nia, Kristen gets picture perfect. Then Nia asks Kristen to take pictures of her and Danny, and while she's doing that, Luke goes and he grabs the ring, and then he comes back up, and now it's time for them to take pictures, and they're taking pictures of them, and then Danny goes, Kristen, look, there's dolphins. And Kristen, of course, where are the dolphins? And she's looking, and as she's looking off the bow of the boat, Luke gets down on one knee behind her, and Kristen's just there scouting for the dolphins, and everybody's like, oh, they're right there. Look, keep looking, they're right there. Meanwhile, Luke's been on his knee for about 10 seconds now, and he's like, oh, your ass looks great from this view. Kristen, meanwhile, still looking for the dolphins, and he's like, baby, we've had so many adventures. She's still looking for the dolphins. Finally, she turns around, and he says, will you be the catch of my life? Kristen turns, freezes. She goes, are you fucking serious right now? Followed by a great big yes. I mean, it was messy. It was real. It was raw. There were no music cues, no slow pans, just two people sweaty in love getting engaged. Back in the presidential suite, Zach tells Jesse about the proposal. Jesse gets more excited than a 17-year-old getting ready for prom and calls downstairs and asks for 1,000 hibiscus flowers. But Jesse gets hung up on. And then Zach calls Brittany and tells her about the engagement, and Brittany is crushed. Brittany says, Kristen's like my sister. I just don't understand. And I mean, you could honestly feel it. Brittany wasn't mad. She was hurt. A lot. And then Jason overhears Brittany, goes back and tells Janet and Michelle the news, and now Janet is really fired up. She says, we left our son longer than we've ever left our son to come on Kristen's engagement trip. And then she calls Zach and declines the dinner invitation, which was actually a relief for Zach. But then back in the room, she says, you know, I'm not going tomorrow anyway. Why would I go tomorrow if we weren't invited tonight? And Jason made it very clear to say we were not disinvited, and they weren't disinvited. And then everyone is all together up in the presidential suite. Well, everyone, that is, except for Janet and Jason. Everyone is up there ready to receive them, fresh off the boat and getting engaged. Kristen, Luke, Nia, and Danny all walk through the door, and the whole gang is there, and they jump up, cheering, congratulating them. Everyone is wearing matching shirts that have Luke and Kristen's face on them. And Kristen is so moved and looks so genuinely happy. Look, I'm getting emotional for her. There are screams and hugs and big loves, and everyone is so happy for them. And at the very end, the producer asks Kristen, so are you happy you showered? And Kristen says, I've never been more happy that I showered in my entire life. And there it is, no metaphor needed, no Bravo polish, just a girl who said yes after a shower she almost didn't take. And I love this episode, and I love Kristen, and I am so happy for her and Luke. Kristen, bring that baby into the salon. I can't wait to see her. I'm so happy for you, honey. Congratulations. I love this episode. I thought it was wonderful. See, you don't always need a Rochella. Sometimes you just need a fishing boat, some fish guts, and a few good friends waiting in matching teas. All right, everybody, that about does it for this episode of Generally Speaking. Thank you so much for being here. If you've been watching this on YouTube, please make sure you reach out and smash that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. If by chance you've been listening on your favorite streaming platform, please make sure you give us a follow, leave us a message, a 5-star rating. We would love that. If you'd like to find me on socials, you can find me on TikTok at This Is Generally Speaking, or on Instagram at The Jennifer Snook. And if you'd like to collaborate or have a question you'd like answered on the pod, you can email me at jennifer@jennifersnook.com. And if you'd like to get your hands on some of this adorable Generally Speaking merch, I will leave the link down below. All right, everybody, I have loved spending this time with you. Thank you so much for being here. And until we're together again, everybody, stay rooted in love. We'll see you next time.